It's the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion. This is for Thursday, the 14th of August. I'm Michael Groff. Well, quite an interesting night last night, especially if you were in central Phoenix and into portions of the West Valley. At the very least, you got a good light show out of it. Some gusty winds, some damaging wind, and a select group of you also picked up some precipitation as outlined here. These are the rainfall totals from last night. And again, not very many people had rain, but where it did fall, some places like in Canto, over an inch of rain around Gila River, 67th Avenue, over an inch of rain, 5500s at 75th Avenue in Buckeye. So yeah, it poured down rain in some areas. That's kind of how the monsoon works. And sometimes it's not always in the East or West Valley. It's right down the middle. Of course, Sky Harbor Airport not shown on this graphic because they picked up just a trace of rain officially. Now, the question is, will we see a repeat performance of that this afternoon and tonight? Yes, moisture is on the increase over parts of the state, and chances of showers and thunderstorms will be higher today than yesterday. Getting those into the valley is always the trick. We'll see if we can do that tomorrow. Rain chances continue to increase before a noted change in the weather pattern as we go into this weekend and next week. And we'll outline all of that. Plus, we got to talk about the tropics, where our temperature's headed. So much more to get into, and we'll do that in just a moment. Hey everyone, it's Michael Groff here to talk to you about your roof. With all the extreme weather we have in Arizona, you need a name you can trust, and that's why you should call Blackstone Roofing Group for all of your roofing needs. Call for your free inspection today. Big or small, they do it all. Tile, shingle, or flat roofing, they can help. Offering free inspections and more. Roofing made easy. Call 602-536-9363 or visit blackstoneroofinggroup.com to schedule your free inspection today. And if you tell them Michael Groff sent you, they'll take $500 off the price of your roof replacement. Again, that's 602-536-9363 or blackstoneroofinggroup.com. All right, let's get to that almanac from yesterday. 109 degrees was the afternoon high after a morning low of 90, 105, and 84 the averages for this time of year. And there it is, just a trace of rain in the bucket at Sky Harbor. Looking outside right now at 11:30 a.m., there's some clouds around presently, and we're sitting at 100 degrees at Sky Harbor. Dew point's 56, humidity 23%, the winds are light, and the barometer is falling. Temperatures right now in the mid-90s to about 100 degrees over the metro area, and we should see afternoon highs topping out fairly similar to yesterday, somewhere in that 104 to 108 range. Satellite picture here across the southwest. We put that in motion for you. You can see what's been going on over the last 16 hours or so, and all the storms that developed yesterday afternoon over the higher terrain, and a few of those just kind of snuck their way right down the heart of the plate. Right down the middle into central Phoenix and snuck into parts of the West Valley. Here at Studio B, the light show went on for over 2 hours and the patio furniture got moved around. I saw over at Studio A, we had over there by Arcadia, some trees were down. So it was a pretty interesting evening. We'd like to see more numerous thunderstorms, and there's a decent chance we could see that today. Although right now we've got some clouds around, and that may preclude more widespread coverage this afternoon and this evening. At least it may delay the onset of that storm activity, but we'll outline that for you in just a moment. Watch warning map, pretty much the same story we've had for a while. Those dense fog advisories over central and northern Alabama, they expired quite a while ago because I start putting these graphics together hours before you see the videos sometimes. Still heat advisories for parts of the southeast, the southern plains, and out here in the west, of course, wildfires are the problem. And we have those red flag warnings over much of the Intermountain West, but you can just bet even where you don't have those advisories, conditions are pretty dry in most places, and so the threat of wildfires is still very high. Convective outlook for today, we've got that standard slight risk of severe storms, level 2 out of 5. That's over parts of North Dakota and northwest Minnesota, Grand Forks, Fargo, Crookston, mild stomping grounds, yep, and then the marginal risk for some of the adjacent areas. In Arizona, just about the entire state is in the green, thunder possible just about anywhere. And even though the threat is more widely scattered in nature over the deserts, just like yesterday, where those storms do occur. Yes, of course, they could produce gusty winds, lots of lightning, and maybe some rain. And a few storms could become severe. We just don't anticipate any organized severe weather activity today. The tropics and the Atlantic Basin, a couple of areas of concern. We've got this wave moving into the Bay of Campeche. That should not be a major threat to the United States. It may develop. It has a low chance to develop into a tropical storm, but would most likely impact the Mexican coast, maybe South Texas, and maybe that system gets caught up in our monsoon flow eventually and kind of moves around into parts of the Southwest. We'll have to see. But obviously, the big story is Tropical Storm Erin, which is out there over the central Atlantic. And here's the latest on Erin. By tomorrow, sometime, this should become a hurricane over the next 24 to 36 hours, maybe a major hurricane by the time we get into Sunday. But it is still anticipated that this curves well east of the east coast of the United States, but don't tell that to the fear mongers and the clickbaiters that are out there on social media. And you know what? I always say that and people say, oh, come on, Mike, people don't really do that, or, you're just blowing smoke. So here you go. Here's a guy, example why we need to stop writing off Erin having some impact on the U.S. A recurve remains the expectation. But, and then he just goes on to say, he shows you a deterministic model from the European, all right, from yesterday. He finds the one model that shows a close call with North Carolina from Erin. He shows that and says, see, we can't just write it off, because if we write it off, that means that he can't keep roping you in with clickbait. And you can see a lot of people clickbait that. That's 61,000 views. 61,500 views this guy gets. 281 likes. The guy is obviously on the adrenaline rush. He wants to, hey, don't write it off. There's still a chance that people could die. There's still a chance for mass destruction and death. Come on, man. Let's not write it off. Well, maybe he's right, though. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the models are saying, because maybe he's right. This is the tropical model set, the ATCF set on Erin. Well, all of these recurve east of the U.S. I know, that's so sad. There's no death and destruction. But maybe if we look at the European ensemble, you got 51 members. And look, there's one of the 51 members does show Erin making landfall there in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. So there you go. One member out of 51. All right, let's latch on to that. Why not? Let's go to the less than 3% chance of something, 2% chance of something happening. But of course, whenever you're forecasting and talking about weather, what you want to do is generally go with the ensemble approach. And the ensemble mean is hundreds of miles east of the United States East Coast. Now, I want to say there is the caveat here, and I will say this only because it's weather, it's unpredictable, things can happen. In the same breath, I want to say, yes, of course you should always keep an eye on the tropics, not just with Erin, but with any system out here, because things can change. But to sit there and try and clickbait and farm likes and farm upvotes and all these social engagement and try to keep people fearful, and that account just does that. A lot of these accounts do that. And I don't know what the fascination is with wanting that to happen, but people do. So maybe people that have never been through a hurricane, a little schadenfreude there, right? So there you go. All right, closer to home. Sorry, sometimes I just have to get on the soapbox. Sometimes people they're like, Mike, you should see this stuff, what people post. And so, of course, I get roped in and I see that. And it's hard to not comment on it as somebody that tries to do this the right way and not try to scare people. All right, let's do it here. The precipitation outlook, this is valid through Thursday morning of next week. Rain amounts in Phoenix, 1/4 to 1/2 inch. We could see as much as 2 inches over portions of southern Arizona. What this graphic is really showing is an average of what you'll see across the region, but any one spot can obviously get more, just like last night. A few spots in the valley saw 1 inch. So your amount will vary is what we're always saying here. So what does the future look like? What may happen as we go forward? Let's figure it out right now as we explore the models. Here we go. This is the GFS. It's the 12Z run. This is valid. 5 o'clock this afternoon. You're looking at the upper chart here first at 500 millibars. That's about 18,000 feet off the ground. And features of note, you got a short wave across Manitoba, central Canada there, and you've got a ridge here over the southwest that's moving east. It's weakening. Upper heights are coming down, and that's going to mean temperatures are coming down. That's in response to a trough that is off to our north and west. That trough, incidentally, not quite as intense as what we were looking at before, which is interesting to note. But what it all is going to mean for us down at the surface for the rest of the day today with that monsoonal flow in place, we'll call it partly cloudy, and there is a chance for those scattered afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms over the higher terrain of eastern and southeast Arizona. And once again, just like yesterday, those storms will drift toward the lower deserts. Some of them may survive to make it in here. The chance of that is somewhat low, but we'll still keep the rain chance in about the 30% bracket. I mean, technically, our rain chance last night was in about the 10 to 20% range. And, well, some spots did see some precipitation, although most of you did not. And that's kind of how it looks tonight, except I think the coverage may be a little better. Now, the way the models are trending right now is that the onset of precip may be a little later. High temperatures this afternoon, 104 to 108. For tonight, that's where the chance of showers and storms comes in. We'll show you our high-resolution models. This is the HRRR, the simulated radar product, and this is tonight at 11 p.m. And at that time, it does show some showers and storms just to the northeast of the valley, rolling in from northeast to southwest. Kind of similar to what we saw last night, but maybe a slightly better coverage. So we could see some kind of middle of the night action tonight. That would be interesting. And then this is 2 a.m. Friday morning off of the HRRR, and it's got showers and storms kind of rumbling into the valley at that time. Now, of course, the HRRR, it has done a pretty good job on these forecasts of late, but it is by no means infallible. And so obviously we could, this may not play out exactly like this, but this is just an idea that's on the table right now, maybe more of a delayed onset of storms with kind of the better chance in the middle of the night. And that sometimes we see that nocturnal convection. So we're just going to keep the chance of showers and storms going from late this afternoon all the way overnight tonight and into the morning hours on Friday. Speaking of Friday, call it partly sunny with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms in the morning, but then showers and storms are going to become likely during the afternoon. Deeper monsoon moisture is in place, and somewhat stronger winds aloft are starting to take over in response to that trough to the west. Now, the flow aloft will start out kind of east-southeasterly and switch to more south-southwesterly later in the day or by tomorrow evening. That's not the most conducive for bringing storms into the valley off the mountains, but there is certainly the prospect of storms developing to our south and southwest and some of those storms moving in here. So we've really ramped up the chance of storms tomorrow in response to a more unstable air mass. We have the cooler air aloft. It sure looks like the atmosphere is going to be much better set up for storm coverage. The only mitigating factor that I see, well, two mitigating factors, that southwesterly steering flow and the fact that we will have a fair amount of cloud cover around tomorrow. Depending on how much cloud cover, that's going to determine the instability of the air mass. If we see more sun, that means the sun is able to heat the ground heats the air, more rising air, more clouds, more convection, more storms. That's good. More clouds, less solar radiation that reaches the ground, less heat, less energy, less convective available potential energy, and shallower lapse rates, which means storm coverage, storms are, the convection isn't as deep. So we'll see. I still think we have a pretty good chance. And as a result, we've bumped up the rain chances into the 60% bracket for tomorrow, especially tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night. And high temperatures down a bit, around 100 to 104. Saturday, the weather pattern really does start to change, though, with the influence of that trough becoming more pronounced. Southwesterly flow will still call for a slight chance of showers and storms here in Phoenix. High temperatures, upper 90s to about 103. And that's below average, believe it or not. Now, up north, still a chance of storms, and over in the eastern mountains, we'll continue with that. And even into Sunday, Here in the valley, we'll take the chance of rain out of the forecast. And same thing for Monday, with high temperatures generally in about the 101 to 106 range or so. And any storms will remain over the higher terrain, and they'll be widely scattered at that. But by Tuesday, high pressure starts to build back in from the east. As mentioned, this trough probably not as strong and fairly progressive. So the ridge will start to build back in. The flow aloft will switch back out of the southeast. We'll see more of monsoon flow start to return. And we'll enter into a low-grade monsoon forecast Tuesday, and I think especially on Wednesday, with slight chances of showers and storms in the afternoon and evening hours here in the valley, and better chances over the higher terrain. But high temperatures are going to get back close to 110 degrees by the middle part of next week. That's the bad news. A week from today, this is Thursday, the 21st, and high pressure is roughly north of us. And so in east, maybe northeasterly flow, storms over the higher terrain push toward the lower deserts. Pretty classic monsoon setup, so at least a low, maybe mid-grade monsoon pattern in effect. Temperatures at maybe a little above average. This ridge maybe not quite as intense as what we were looking at on previous model runs. And by the way, yeah, the GFS takes Aaron harmlessly east of the United States East Coast. Does that mean that's exactly what happens and how it plays out? No, it just means that using these deterministic models to say it's going to hit the U.S. is just, I don't get it. All right, here we go. This is Friday the 22nd. And again, high pressure over the southwest, mainly north of us, maybe around the Four Corners, kind of meandering around. And so at least a low-grade monsoon forecast is in effect. High temperatures a little above average, but not ridiculously so. I'd say probably anywhere from 105 to 112 on the lower deserts, depending on where you are. Going out 10 days to the end of the period. This is Saturday the 23rd. And again, high pressure is broadly over the southwest. Exactly where it is will make somewhat of a difference in our chance of storms. But, from run to run, we're going to see differences. This is out at 10 days. Just know that a low-grade monsoon forecast is still favored out here at 10 days. So at least we'll have some semblance of a chance at storms each afternoon and evening after about Tuesday of next week. All right, let's keep going. This is the rainfall for Phoenix out through the 28th of the month off the GFS ensemble. Hey, the mean is up at almost an inch. You got some individual members that are pumping up toward 2 inches. And then the European AI ensemble, the ensemble mean here is about a half an inch. So we've got pretty good agreement on all these models. It looks like there is one member in this 51-member ensemble that shows no rain. All the members in this one have precipitations. So, again, you got 82 members. One says no, 81 say yes. So I think we're actually going to see some precipitation. I mean, technically, we've already seen some over portions of the valley. And so, but as you know, it's the monsoon. You may get an inch of rain. A mile away, they might get nothing. And that's the way it is around here. And it's not just here. Anytime you have kind of scattered storms that pop up, Florida is the same way. Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, the Gulf Coast, any of those places where you get these scattered random pop-up storms. That's just how it works. The only problem is those places, they get storms a lot more consistently than we do. So that's kind of the issue. All right. Temperatures off the national blend of models. Hey, we're going to cool it off a little bit the next few days with highs at maybe even a degree or so shy of seasonal averages. Here, especially on Saturday. We're going to warm it up next week. The reality is going to set back in. We're not done with the 110-degree days yet, but I would hope, climatologically speaking, we're winding those down. Here's the CPC outlook, the 8 to 14-day period. This is August 21st to the 27th. Temperatures expected to be above average. No surprise there. Precipitation, though, probability is skewed toward above average across Arizona. We'll take that. Clayton in the comments asked me to talk about the month of September. Now, I don't have a climate outlook for just September. So what we have here is the 3-month outlook, September, October, and November. And if that's right, temperatures during that 3-month period are still expected to be above average. Precipitation expected to be below average across much of central and northern Arizona, the southern half of the state in the equal chances category, which means there's an equal chance of any outcome. Below average, average, above average. Kind of their nice way of saying, hey man, we don't know. Throw a dart, see what happens. But let's show you, these are, what you can typically, at least based upon climatological averages. This is what the month of September usually holds. We start out the month with an average high of 104 degrees in Phoenix, close out the month with an average high of 95 degrees. 96 degrees. I guess these climatological, I memorized the old 1981 through 2010 tables. So anyway, starting out at 104, closing out at 96 degrees by the end of the month. So temperatures do trend down, obviously, as we get into September. That sun angle getting lower, those nights are getting longer, and typically we start to lose the effects of the monsoon and the moisture around, so those overnight lows also get cooler. Kind of a double whammy effect, the longer nights and the fact that we lose the moisture. So hopefully, we finally, unlike last year where September was just a nightmare and the first half of October was too, hoping for a more typical September, but based on the CPC outlook, we're still expecting temperatures above average. All right, that's going to do it for the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for today. My next video is due back here tomorrow morning. Should you happen to enjoy these videos, and of course you do, be sure to subscribe, like, share, click that notification bell. Leave those comments, questions, and suggestions. It really helps out with the algorithm side of things. That's so important here on YouTube. I hate that I have to mention that, but it is. Also, if you really like what we do here and you want to support the channel, keep it going, well, then I suggest you click that thanks icon below the video here on YouTube and make a contribution to us that way. Or even better, PayPal, groffshow@gmail.com is our PayPal address. It's groffshow@gmail.com for PayPal, or our Venmo. And again, all of that is linked up down in the description below this video. You know what else is linked up down there? The executive producer of this here fine Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion, my OAO, the sweetest of all time, the Asian sensation and proprietor of sweetchildaz.com.org and the Facebook page of the same name, Sweet Child Arizona, talking about my Michelle. Check her out. Blogs, videos, everything Michelle related, almost inevitably Adriana related. It's all linked up down in the description, so check it out. Our streaming station, it's available 24/7, 365. It's called KMGX. We play a ton of music and have a lot of fun with that. So that is also linked up in the description, as is our good friend over there at the Courtroom Files YouTube channel, The Courtroom Files. Check him out. Insane amount of content. He puts up 3 videos a day, plus a live show in the morning. And today, every Tuesday and Thursday, this is kind of the self-serving part of the plug, it's the show Sidebar, and you can check us out over there. I am there too. Yes, I don't just do weather. I'm over there on Dan's channel, over on the Courtroom Files YouTube channel for Sidebar. 8 p.m. East, 5 p.m. Pacific. Check it out. A great discussion, lively discussion. We just have a lot of fun. It is four people that really do enjoy each other's company, all chatting about LawTube stuff, and sometimes not. Sometimes, usually if there's a derailment in the conversation, it's because I did it. I'm the Amtrak of the show. What can I say? All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. All of your continued support. It is so greatly appreciated. Please be safe. Stay cool. Stay hydrated out there. And you guys have yourselves a delightful rest of your Thursday.